Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and 13 days of Craftoween 2025, day 13. We have reached the conclusion of the 13 days of Craftoween and today features the adorable little coffin. I decided to create a kind of spooky graveyard type of scene using the coffin as well as a couple of dies from other days and dies from my stash. We're going to start by building the coffin. I've die cut the front of the coffin from some anchor cardstock and I am using the blackout technique to give it that wonderful detailing and darken it up, but with those light bits in the debossed areas. Then we're going to take the frame for the coffin, cut from brushed black cardstock, and put this in place. For the inside of our coffin, I've got the treasured cardstock in red and kind of that brushed effect, and another piece of the brushed black. This is just going to give a little hint of the red peeking out from our little inside of our coffin, and of course a little hand coming out. Then we have skull and crossbones and some extra bones. I'm going to put the skull and crossbones on the front of this, but we're going to save those extra bones for building out the rest of our graveyard scene. So we're going to go ahead and pop up the front of this with some foam adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and put my skull on first. I probably should have done that before I added my foam adhesive, but that is okay. And then all of these extra bats, do you remember from day 11, our little haunted house? Those bats are from that set. So I die cut some of those from some of the brushed black cardstock as well. Just going to clean up a little bit of extra glue I made a mess of, and then we're going to pop this up. So as I was contemplating what else do I want to use with this coffin die, I remembered the Envelope of Wonder Halloween set, and I love the Tombstone and Ghost from that. And then I decided to pull pumpkins from my Faux Embroidered pumpkin die set for Spellbinders and the Autumn Envelope of Wonder. I decided for my background today, we're going to go with good old-fashioned ink blending with lumberjack plaid and black soot distress oxide inks. We're going to start with our red so that there's kind of a reddish glow back behind where our coffin is to tie into the red lining of our coffin. And then black soot is my go-to favorite for all things moody Halloween. And we really want to work to get a beautiful seamless blend so that once we put our images on this card, it's just this glow of red that is showing from around our scene, but the edges are all this beautiful moody black. I'm definitely going to work on this a little bit. I've only used these two colors. However, I did start with a base of Fog Spellbinders cardstock. So a little bit of starting with a colored cardstock I feel like does give you a nice undertone. Then I'm going to take the Raven Splatter and we're going to add a little bit of this on our background for that extra distressing that I love for everything. Then I'm going to set this aside to completely air dry. Because we've used oxide inks, which have some pigment in them, we need to let this completely dry because I do want to stamp and emboss a greeting from the stamp set included in the Craftoween box along the bottom edge of my card. I love bold white embossing against the black soot of the background. Let's go ahead and build our little tombstone here. This tombstone is from that Halloween Envelope of Wonder set. This is a couple of years old. If you have something similar, it could be a really fun addition, or you could simply, have your coffin in a pumpkin patch, grab all of your favorite pumpkin dies, and you could do that as well. So then I've got my two pumpkins here. And again, I just picked pumpkins from a couple of sets, Spellbinder sets that I have around. You've seen these used in other videos throughout this series. There's a lot of repetition in certain elements because these dies are not one and done. We can use them over and over again, and that is what I love about die cutting, is that we can reuse and re-die cut these pieces many times in lots and lots of different ways. I love these two pumpkins, and I think they're going to round out our scene perfectly, as well as provide a beautiful pop of color. I did blend in a little bit of Hero Art's cranberry ink, and just like I did with day 12, those blades of grass are from the Frog Prince set. I hadn't intended on using them, but as I laid out all of the different pieces to get ready to place them on my card front, I really loved kind of that same look from yesterday, where we have all of these blades of grass to help soften the whole effect and the look, if you will. So we are going to utilize those, and I absolutely love how they turned out. The other thing that I have not die cut yet, and I added it kind of as a last minute addition, is the flowers from my Faux embroidered pumpkin set. You've seen me use those throughout this 13 days of Craftoween. We are going to die cut some of those from the treasured red cardstock and add those to our card, and they just create a very gothic romantic kind of look to me. I've added my 3 bats. Again, those are from the day 11 Craftoween box edition, and I've glued those in place, and now I'm going to stamp my greeting. I've let that sit for long enough that I can go ahead and stamp and emboss without any worry of my embossing powder sticking to any of the ink. Then we're going to heat set that, and the white embossing powder against this background looks just as amazing as I thought it would. Then we're going to start adding all of the components to our card, including that tombstone with the vellum ghost, our wonderful little coffin here from our day 13. Even just like that, it looks absolutely adorable. Once we add in our pumpkins and things, I'm going to put the bigger pumpkin, I'm going to glue that directly to the background and put the little bit smaller one on top of that, popped up with foam. I've used foam and just gluing things straight to the background, and then we've got our ghost peeking out. Look how cute this is. Oh my goodness. And then we're going to start putting in our blades of grass. And I'm going to tuck these all around and see how that instantly just softens and adds interest and kind of completes this scene. I am loving that. Now, I was talking about this in yesterday's video, but I actually dipped into my box of extra goodies. And what I dipped into it for was initially the leaves for the little flower blooms I'm going to add to my card. And as I was in that box getting those, I found that I had 2 glittery bats left over from a previous day's project that I ended up never using. And as I looked up at the top part of my card, I thought, well, I think 3 bats could become 5. I like my embellishments in odd numbers for the most part. And so I thought, well, let's see if we like how they look. I did like that. So we are going to add 2 extra bats. They're glittery. So we have our brushed black, and we'll have glitter black bats in 2 different styles. And it's a great way to maybe use up some of those extra bits and pieces. I used up all the extra leaves that I had left in my box, and I used up all the rest of the bats. So it's a win-win. Here are those little red flowers I was talking about from the red treasured cardstock. We're going to add the leaves to them. I love how this looks. We are going to add a scattering of opal gems, adding those to the center of the flowers, and then I did scatter just a few around my card, maybe about 5, I think. Just for that added little bit of interest. I love the little flower over here at the top of the tombstone. I really ended up loving how that looks. Here are those bats. Don't they look awesome? I just love how they finished off the top of the card too. Thank you guys so much for joining me for the 13 days of Craftoween. I hope you've enjoyed each video as much as I have enjoyed creating it for you. All the supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today for another paper crafting tutorial. I love being able to share with this incredible community of crafters. I want to give a huge shout out and special thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you're interested in joining Patreon, please click the link in the description underneath the video here on YouTube. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do. There is exclusive content, information, and behind-the-scenes content. Top-tier members will receive a handmade birthday card during your birthday month, access to D-Stash, and monthly exclusive lives, plus so much more. We would love to have you join our growing community.